The government will not allow any individual or a mining company to operate in the country without license.
In northern Kenya, the land stretches endlessly under a blazing sun. For generations, people in places like Turkana and Marsabit have lived on this harsh terrain, herding livestock, digging shallow wells for water, and surviving in one of the toughest environments on Earth. To outsiders, this region has always looked like empty land, dry, remote, forgotten. But what if beneath this quiet landscape lies one of the most valuable mineral discoveries in modern history? What if the dusty ground under Kenya's feet holds a resource so valuable that it powers the very devices you're watching this video on right now? Recently, rumors began circulating across Africa and beyond, whispers of a massive discovery, a discovery so huge that some reports claim the mineral deposits could be worth $7 trillion. Yes, trillion. And the mineral at the center of it all? Coltan, a dull-looking black ore that most people have never heard of. But without it, the modern world would simply stop working. No smartphones, no laptops, no game consoles, no satellites, because coltan is the raw material used to produce tantalum, a rare metal that makes electronic components smaller, faster, and more efficient. Every time you send a message, stream a video, or charge your phone, there's a good chance tantalum is helping make that possible, which is why the discovery of a massive coltan deposit could instantly turn a country into one of the most strategically important places on the planet. And that's exactly why the news coming out of Kenya has been making waves. According to early reports, geologists may have uncovered vast mineral deposits deep within Kenyan soil, resources that could potentially reshape the nation's economy forever. But here's where the story becomes even more interesting, because Kenya was never known as a coltan giant. For decades, the global coltan supply has been dominated by just a handful of countries, particularly in Central Africa. The Democratic Republic of Congo has long been the world's most famous source of coltan, supplying a huge portion of the global market. In fact, the mineral has been so valuable that it has even been linked to conflicts and power struggles in the region. Control the coltan, and you control a key ingredient of the modern technological world. So when whispers began suggesting that Kenya might possess enormous reserves of this strategic mineral, it immediately caught the attention of governments, investors, and tech industries across the globe. Could Kenya really be sitting on one of the largest untapped coltan deposits in history? Or are the headlines exaggerating what was actually discovered? To understand how big this story might be, we first need to understand just how valuable coltan really is. Because this small, unassuming mineral plays a huge role in powering the digital age. Inside the ore known as coltan are two key elements, columbite and tantalite. It's the tantalite that makes it so valuable. When refined, it produces tantalum, a heat-resistant metal used to manufacture tiny capacitors that regulate electrical flow inside electronic circuits. These capacitors are incredibly reliable. They can store and release energy quickly, withstand high temperatures, and function in extremely small spaces. That's exactly why they're used in everything from smartphones and medical equipment to aircraft systems and space technology. In other words, coltan is one of the invisible pillars holding up the modern technological world, and demand for it is only increasing. As global technology companies race to build faster devices, smarter systems, and more powerful electronics, the need for tantalum keeps rising, which means countries with large coltan reserves suddenly become extremely important players in the global economy. Now imagine discovering deposits worth trillions of dollars. It would be the kind of discovery capable of transforming a nation overnight. Infrastructure could expand, jobs could multiply, foreign investment could flood into the country. Entire regions that were once overlooked could suddenly become the center of global attention. And for Kenya, a country already known as one of East Africa's fastest-growing economies, the implications could be enormous. But before celebrating a $7 trillion jackpot, there's a critical question that still needs to be answered. Was this discovery really as massive as the headlines claim? Because when it comes to natural resources, early estimates can sometimes be wildly exaggerated. And the truth behind Kenya's Coltan story may be far more complicated than the viral headlines suggest. In fact, the journey from rumor to discovery to actual mining wealth is often long, uncertain, and filled with surprises. So what exactly was found in Kenya? Who made the discovery? And could this mineral really reshape the future of the country? Or is the $7 trillion figure simply too good to be true? To answer those questions, we need to go back to where this story truly began, deep beneath Kenya's soil, where geologists first started noticing something unusual. The story of Kenya's possible Coltan discovery didn't begin with a dramatic announcement or a sudden headline. It started quietly. For years, geological surveys across East Africa had been studying the region's underground mineral potential. Kenya had already discovered valuable natural resources before: oil deposits in Turkana, titanium along the coast, and rare earth minerals in several regions. So scientists and exploration companies continued looking deeper, and eventually, something unusual began to appear in the data. Certain rock formations in parts of Kenya showed geological similarities to areas in Central Africa that are rich in coltan deposits. That immediately raised curiosity, because the conditions required to form coltan are very specific. The mineral usually appears in ancient igneous rocks called pegmatites, which are also known to contain rare metals like lithium, tantalum, and niobium. When geologists began examining these rock structures in Kenya more closely, early signs suggested that the country might hold significant amounts of tantalum-bearing minerals. But at first, these were only indications. Geology is rarely simple. Finding traces of a mineral doesn't automatically mean a country has large, economically viable reserves. Still, the possibility alone was enough to spark excitement. Exploration teams started conducting more detailed surveys, collecting rock samples, analyzing soil composition, and mapping underground formations. And as more information surfaced, rumors began spreading. Some reports suggested that the deposits might be extremely large. Others claimed that certain areas in Kenya could contain high concentrations of coltan ore. Then, the number that would ignite global attention suddenly appeared online: $7 trillion. That figure spread across social media, news blogs, and YouTube videos almost overnight. Headlines exploded with phrases like, "Kenya discovers $7 trillion worth of coltan. Massive mineral discovery could change Africa forever. Kenya may become the next global tech mineral giant." But where exactly did this number come from? That's where things become a little unclear. In many resource discoveries around the world, early valuations are often based on theoretical estimates. Analysts might calculate how much a mineral deposit could be worth if the resource is fully confirmed. Mining operations become viable, global prices remain high, and the entire deposit is extracted. But these assumptions rarely match reality. Mining projects take years, sometimes decades to develop. Companies must conduct drilling programs, environmental studies, and economic feasibility assessments before production can even begin. In other words, a discovery that appears enormous on paper may turn out to be much smaller when tested in real conditions. Yet despite these uncertainties, the possibility of major coltan reserves in Kenya quickly attracted global interest. Why? Because the world is currently facing a growing competition for critical minerals. Modern technology depends on a wide range of rare elements: lithium for batteries, cobalt for electric vehicles, rare earth metals for wind turbines, and tantalum for electronics. And countries everywhere are trying to secure stable supplies. Right now, a large portion of the world's coltan production comes from Central Africa, particularly the Democratic Republic of Congo. But this supply chain has long been controversial. Mining in some areas has been linked to environmental destruction, illegal trade networks, and armed groups competing for control of mineral-rich territories. As a result, Many governments and technology companies have been searching for alternative sources of coltan that are more stable and transparent. If Kenya truly holds large reserves, it could become an attractive new supplier, and that possibility has already caught the attention of investors. Mining companies constantly search for new opportunities in regions that have not yet been fully explored. East Africa is increasingly seen as one of those frontiers. Kenya, in particular, has several advantages. The country has relatively stable political institutions compared to many mineral-rich regions. It also has growing infrastructure, major ports like Mombasa, and strong connections to international markets. All of these factors make it easier for large mining projects to develop, but turning a potential mineral discovery into a functioning industry is never simple. Even if Kenya has large coltan deposits, building mines would require enormous investment. Roads would need to be built, processing facilities constructed, environmental regulations enforced, local communities consulted, and perhaps most importantly, accurate geological data must confirm that the mineral deposits are truly large enough to justify such projects. Because right now, despite the viral headlines, the reality is that much about Kenya's supposed coltan treasure is still uncertain. Some experts believe the excitement may be exaggerated. Others argue that East Africa has been historically underexplored, meaning significant discoveries could still be waiting underground. Either way, the story has already sparked a bigger conversation. What would happen if Kenya truly possessed mineral resources worth trillions? How would that wealth be managed? Would it transform the country's economy or create new challenges? History shows that natural resource discoveries can bring incredible opportunities, but they can also bring serious risks. And that's exactly where Kenya's story may face its most important test. Because the real question isn't just whether coltan exists beneath Kenyan soil. The real question is what happens if the world suddenly decides it needs that coltan. If Kenya truly holds massive reserves of coltan, the discovery could mark the beginning of a completely new chapter in the country's history. But history has also shown that natural resources can be both a blessing and a challenge. Around the world, there are many examples of countries that discovered enormous mineral wealth, only to face unexpected problems afterward. Economists even have a name for it. They call it the resource curse. It's a strange paradox where nations rich in valuable natural resources sometimes struggle with corruption, economic instability, or political tensions instead of prosperity. Instead of benefiting everyone, the sudden arrival of massive resource wealth can attract power struggles, outside interference, and mismanagement. Africa itself has seen this story play out before. Countries rich in oil, diamonds, and rare minerals have sometimes faced conflicts over who controls those resources. And that's one reason why the possibility of a huge coltan discovery in Kenya has sparked such intense interest internationally. Because coltan is no longer just a mining commodity, it's a strategic resource. The modern world runs on electronics. Smartphones, laptops, data centers, electric vehicles, satellites, artificial intelligence systems, almost all of them rely on critical minerals like tantalum. And as technology becomes more advanced, the demand for these materials is rising rapidly. Major global powers are already competing to secure stable supply chains. Governments want to ensure their industries have reliable access to the minerals needed for the next generation of technology. Which means that if Kenya truly becomes a major source of coltan, the country could suddenly find itself at the center of a global economic competition. Mining companies would likely race to secure exploration licenses. International investors would begin evaluating the country's mineral potential. Technology companies might seek long-term supply agreements, and governments from around the world could become increasingly interested in building stronger partnerships with Kenya. For a country that has long been considered one of East Africa's economic leaders, this could create enormous opportunities. Kenya already has a diverse economy, with strong sectors in agriculture, tourism, finance, and technology. In fact, Nairobi has become known as the Silicon Savannah, a growing hub for African tech startups and innovation. Now imagine combining that growing digital economy with the discovery of one of the world's most valuable tech minerals. The impact impact could be transformative. Mining projects could create thousands of jobs. Infrastructure projects could expand roads, railways, and energy networks. Government revenue from mineral exports could fund schools, hospitals, and development programs. Entire communities in remote regions could see new investment and economic growth. But turning mineral wealth into national prosperity requires careful planning. Countries that successfully manage their resources often invest heavily in transparency, regulation, and long-term economic diversification. They ensure that mining companies follow environmental standards, they protect local communities, and they create policies that ensure resource wealth benefits the entire population, not just a few individuals. Kenya would likely face exactly these kinds of decisions if major coltan reserves are confirmed, because once the world realizes a country possesses a critical resource, the pressure to extract it can grow quickly. And yet, despite all the excitement surrounding the headlines, one important reality still remains. The $7 trillion figure that has gone viral across the internet is still unverified. No official geological report has confirmed that Kenya possesses coltan deposits of that scale, at least not yet. Large mineral discoveries require years of drilling, testing, and evaluation before their true size and economic value can be determined. So while the rumors may be exciting, the real story is still unfolding. Kenya could indeed be sitting on significant untapped mineral wealth, or the deposits might turn out to be far smaller than early speculation suggested. Only time and science will reveal the truth. But one thing is certain, the world's hunger for critical minerals is only growing stronger, and countries that hold those resources will play an increasingly important role in shaping the future of technology. So the next time you pick up your phone, or power on your laptop, or stream a video like this one, remember that inside those tiny circuits are rare materials pulled from the earth, materials that connect the digital world to the ground beneath our feet. And somewhere under Kenya's vast landscapes, there may still be discoveries waiting to be revealed, discoveries that could one day change the global technology map forever. The real question is not just whether Kenya has coltan worth trillions. The real question is this: if that wealth truly exists, how will Kenya choose to use it?